Welcome to another edition of the Black Male Podcast. I am your host, AP. Today's show is going to be on the
Mm.
subject of therapy. With me, I have a special guest. She is a graduate of Southern University, Louisiana Tech University, and Walden University. She is a licensed LPC and NCC. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Miss Kimberlee Ross. How you doing, Kim?
Hi everyone. Hi.
Miss Kim, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Whew. Well, I'm Kimberly. I am a licensed therapist. Um, Currently I am licensed in 2 states, waiting on approval from a third and fourth state. I have a virtual private practice. I've been in the mental health field since 2013, so I've been here for a long time. But right now, I'm just focusing on doing everything like individual based. I do see couples, I do see families, but everything right now is virtual because I'm trying to reach out to more people as much as I can from state to state. So right now, my biggest clientele is in Washington State. So that's where I'm at now. But I've
Okay, why
practiced in
why's your
Louisiana.
why's your why is your biggest clientele in the state of Washington?
Um, When I got licensed over there, there was a big need for therapy, but not enough in-person therapists. So that's how I developed my virtual practice over there, along with a lot of other people through different marketing agencies. And luckily, like it's a big amount of individuals, a huge amount of individuals that want therapy and are taking advantage of the telehealth platform. So that's why that's my biggest.
Okay, do you think it's easier to reach people virtually as opposed to people coming in?
It depends on what you like, but I think since COVID, that opened the door for virtual to be a comfortable thing, and a lot of people use it. In my opinion, a lot of people use it. They don't have to worry about the pressures of being seen, the pressures of making it to their appointment on time. As long as they know that they're in a quiet, safe space when it's time for them to log on, they can do their therapy session from the comfort of their own home. And I think it helps them become more comfortable and open to therapy as a whole.
Okay, do you think you get more out of people when they're in that comfortable zone and in that safe space at that time as opposed to coming to an office?
Um, it's hard to say because
Hmm.
most of my professional journey has been in person.
Okay.
And I've had, amazing results with my clients in person. But the consistency of the telehealth platform, I've been on that platform for like a year and a half. I haven't ran into any problems. I think they like it that way. But like I said, overall, it's just your preference
Okay.
and what you need, pretty much.
Okay. You're the second therapist that I know that has actually told me that they see people virtually. I know someone that works for the military now, and she's stationed in Japan, and she's been there for a couple of years, and she loves it. But she says the easiest thing for her is to see people virtually, but she still sees people that are here in Houston. So that is pretty good. That's you the second
Yeah,
therapist.
I have a few in person, but like I said, because of the influx of individuals from Washington, it kind of takes up a lot of my time to see as many people in Houston because of the 2 hour time difference and
Hmm.
things like that. And plus, I need a break.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, I think this platform, like I said, it gives you the freedom. I have a colleague that I think next year she's going to live abroad, but she's still going to do virtual therapy in the US.
Okay. All right. So that's kind of like what Denise does. Okay.
Yeah, she wants
What
to do that.
what made you want to be a therapist?
Truthfully,
Yeah.
um, I tell all my clients this because I'm very transparent when it comes
Hmm.
to building that rapport with them. Um, for me, I didn't even think to go into the lines of therapy. I mean, it was around me growing up, but the stigmas and things like that kind of like drew me from it. I really wanted to just be in the helping profession. I wanted to be an attorney. I felt like that was the way that I can help people.
Okay.
So when I graduated college, I had my son. I was like, oh, I can't go to law school with a itty bitty baby. So
Mm-hmm.
I ended up moving back home, getting a job in the mental health field, becoming a mental health specialist. So it really just started off as a job.
Okay.
And of course, I was just doing what I do best, being myself.
Right.
And grew to like it, grew to have a passion for it, was getting good, responses from my clients, from supervisors, from coworkers, and then I was encouraged to go back to school. So I went back to school, got my master's, and then I took a break, and then I went back to school again and got my second master's, did my internship, and here I am now. So,
Okay. That's good. Now, and as a statistic standpoint, how many people of different races or cultures do you see?
mm, one, two,
There's a
maybe
reason why
four,
I asked that question.
maybe four, four.
Okay. So four different ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Which would you say is the most that you see?
Mm, I mean, the majority.
The majority? No, I mean
Yeah.
like is it like black? Is it white? And are they Hispanic? You know what I mean?
Like, like I
Oh,
said,
what?
I'm in the state of Washington, so
Right. Well, they got black people there too.
not a lot.
Yeah, I know not a lot, but they got some there too.
Yeah. But I mean, over the course of my profession, I've
Right.
seen more black people.
Okay. Okay. Why do you think it's hard for black people to reach out and seek therapy?
Stigmas,
What type of stigmas?
negative ones. If you, I mean, it could even be, rooted with religion. Oh, just go
Hmm.
pray about it. You don't have a problem. You don't need to go sit there and talk to someone and tell them your business, keeping things in the family.
Hmm.
You're crazy. Something's wrong with you. Like the list goes on and on. It's a lot of negative stigmas that are hindering our community from even being open to therapy. But I think now, 2025, it's evolving. A lot of people are learning that you can use therapy for just life stressors. That's something we can't predict. So, with having just someone that you can trust, that you can feel safe with, and that can help you navigate and guide you through life stressors is like the baseline of therapy. You don't have to just come to therapy when you feel like your life is upside down, something is wrong. You may need extensive therapy with the combination of medication and
Hmm.
things like that. Like, so you don't have to just wait. Some of my clients just come to have somebody to talk to.
Okay. 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 And when they just come to talk to you, do they just openly share everything, or is there a specific thing that they're looking from you as a therapist?
I think in the beginning, they want to get comfortable.
Okay.
They want to make sure it's somebody that they can trust. And once you break that seal, trust me, it's no limit to what they'll talk about, what they'll
Hmm.
tell you. And I mean, when you're doing it on a week to week basis, it's like this person is now basically going through everything with you on a week to week basis. So in that 1 hour, they want to tell you everything, especially if there's a lot that happened.
Okay. All right. Now, how long are your sessions, or how long would you like to keep your sessions?
Um, People do sessions at their leisure. I mean, I think the shortest can be like 30 minutes, but for me, all of mine are an hour.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, within that hour, what is your goal, or what are you trying to open the box to get out of them?
Um, it just depends really like on where we left off in a previous session. If it's a new session, of course we build that rapport. I'm trying to break that wall down to get them comfortable with me,
Okay.
to express the things that they initially came into therapy for. But over the course of the therapeutic relationship, we don't just stay on those specific topics. In the intake session, it might take one or two sessions, depending on how much they want to share and they want to talk about, and
Okay.
then that's when we develop, the treatment plan, and that's just something like a guide to focus on the main reason as to why I signed up, said I needed a therapist, and I'm
Hmm.
trying to get something done. But
Okay.
throughout the weeks, it can change. Something can happen, and then you may end up talking about something else. But um, maybe like for me, maybe about the third or fourth session, they completely comfortable. Sometimes in the first session, they may come on nervous. So I do like a check-in at the beginning before I introduce myself, ask them how they're feeling about this, ask them if they're nervous, and then we do a scale rating at the end. And most of the time, my goal is to make sure that if they were nervous in the beginning, they're not nervous at the end. They're
Okay.
comfortable, they're looking forward to the next session, and we go from there.
Yeah, I think that's important for a therapist or anybody that someone is divulging some type of personal trauma or something that they want to get off their chest is important that you build that rapport with them. How many sessions is typical, or is there a certain number of sessions that somebody should get?
Um, for them, for you, I think you can use it as much as you want. You know, for me, I'm not the type of therapist to say, okay, we're done.
Hmm.
Because we can finish our sessions or you can graduate from therapy and then 2 weeks later, something happens. So I
Okay.
like to leave that door open for them. But what I do with my clients is we start off on a week to week basis. And when things start to progress, we go to a biweekly.
Okay.
And then if something gets worse or something happens, they know they can come back to weekly. And then after bi-weekly, if they feel like they got it, they feel like they, can handle a lot of things, they got their coping techniques and strategies and things on how to handle whatever they came for therapy for, it could be on a 1 month, one session a month. It could be on a wait list. I have a wait list for people that, may have seen me months ago, but want to keep that, that door
Hmm.
open. So it's just your preference. But typically, a lot of people try to do like their treatment plans like for 6 months.
Okay. Okay. Now, when they come to those therapy sessions or they have those virtual sessions, what is one example that you give me without giving names? You don't have to give names or specifics
I would
because of
never give
HIPAA.
names.
Yeah, because
I would
some
never
people
give
out there, they don't
names.
know that you can't give out names or specifics.
Oh
What
yeah.
is one of the hardest therapy sessions that you have had to do?
That's a crazy question for me because of the longevity that um I've for the amount of time that I've been doing this, I've heard it all.
Hmm.
And from the different populations that I've worked with, especially working in the psych hospital, like I've seen it all. Like I've seen
Okay.
it at its worst. So I don't know. I don't because for me, when I meet my clients, I don't try to predict what they're coming in for. I
Okay.
just
Good.
go with it at face value. Like
Right.
you get the intake information and you can read over it, but I try to get like real life, perspectives from them so that I won't develop a habit of, like categorizing them
Yeah.
without just hearing their truth. So,
Right.
but let me see, maybe my hardest client over the past year, um, I would say, let me think, give me a minute.
It could be anything. You don't have to be anything specific. It could just be like a situation or something, just something that you can share. Because the reason why I asked that question is a lot of people do not understand that you can see a therapist for anything. Anything
Okay.
that's bothering you, anything that you're going through, people just think this black and white ideas. Oh, I'm going to go see a therapist, or something must be wrong with me. That's not true.
And you
You
got
know,
to have a
right,
medical
right,
diagnosis, right?
right.
Um, I mean, in my couple sessions, I mean, everybody don't leave the way that they came.
In the couple session.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. I can see that. You want to tap in a little bit to that?
Um, I actually have worked with individuals where they weren't married, but
Mm-hmm.
they were like common law.
Okay.
And I guess because I'm a woman,
Mm-hmm.
most women uh, will sign up them and their spouse or their partner for therapy,
Okay.
and they kind of assume or expect, for my perspective, to be more geared towards them.
Right.
And when it's not, then sometimes it can get emotional, sometimes it can get upsetting. And I had a couple take a break from therapy because it was too much.
Yeah.
Um, I had a couple come in and
I can see the
filed
hesitation. Yeah.
filed for divorce, but they were
Whoo.
already ready. It was already on the table, but
Right.
they were trying to see if they could stop it
Okay.
before the time frame of the official filing.
Okay.
So the goal for them was to, let's see what we can do.
Right.
Let's see if we can stop it. But one party didn't want to, pause the
Mm-hmm.
official filing if they didn't get to a point to where they can reconcile. So the official filing came. Officially, they're divorced, but I'm still seeing them.
Okay. Separately.
No.
Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on. So hold on 1 second. Now, see, I wasn't expecting that. Not at all. That's why you was laughing. Okay,
Yeah.
so these folks is divorced
Uh
and
huh.
they still seeing you. So that means that they got
What you
divorced on
mean?
paper, but in their heart they still care about each other. How long them people been together?
Oh, I'm probably almost 20 years.
Oh well, see, I mean, ain't no divorce then. What we doing?
But for me, the way that I can see the situation, I think it has to deal with um, one party's childhood and the other party's childhood is completely different. As far as
Yeah.
like one party's parents are still together, still
Mm-hmm.
married, the other party's parents are separated and it was
Mm-hmm.
ugly. And so they're trying to prevent that.
Right.
So right now, what we're working on is just how to move forward and still work as a family unit with the divorce being a reality.
Okay. And they got kids.
Man, I got kids.
How many kids? How many kids they got? Three, four, five,
It's a
six.
couple.
Whoo.
Not no,
Okay.
not that high, but
Oh,
it's a
okay. Oh, okay. They, small number. Small number.
small
Small
numbers,
number.
but they're
Okay.
small.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they're not middle. They're not teenage age, so
Oh, so
they're
they're
young.
older kids.
No, they're young,
Oh, they're babies.
under 13.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
so I'm
good.
saying they're not
Okay.
they're not even teenagers yet. So yeah,
Okay. So, as a therapist, when you encounter a couple like that, what is your style? How do you try to, have an unbiased in your professional way, an unbiased opinion and just get the things across so that neither one of them thinks that you're taking each one of their sides.
I hear both parties out.
Okay.
I validate, both parties' feelings when they express them. And if we come to any type of roadblock or obstacle to
Hmm.
where one or both don't understand the other person, then that's when we break things down. And most of the time, especially with them and a few others that I've had, I'm just listening.
Okay.
I give them a topic to talk about, and I teach them how to communicate with each other without emotions, without, you know, fighting the other person, but just wanting the other person or both parties to hear each other out and just get them to understand more so that in a relationship, in a marriage, that it's not about how you see things, it's about how the person want to receive things. And
Okay.
that's going to help you, pretty much be able to understand your partner.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, they both came from different backgrounds. So
Hmm.
one may express love in a different way. And if you just expressing, just like if I try to express my love to you, but your love language is completely off or different from mine,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna feel neglected. You're gonna
Right.
feel like you're unloved because you're not receiving it the way that you would want to receive it.
Right.
So
Right.
with them, yeah, I mean, but it's not as bad as it could be. Even though they are divorced, like
Hmm.
they're very
They're
like,
civil.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. At least that's a good thing. Have you ever had to break up? Uh, have you ever had to break up a potential fight in a therapy session between couples?
Yes.
They get real bad. People be trying to throw chairs and stuff.
Um, Not chairs. Like people will get up, walk out, especially in person.
Uh huh.
Um, or even in virtually, like I'm looking at you for an hour. Like I'm looking
Right.
at your body language. I'm seeing like people got emotional, crying,
Mm-hmm.
ended the session and then they came back on. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Now
yeah.
you say you see couples. Do you see anybody that's not a couple or anybody that's like at a certain age limit, or what is the youngest person you will be open to have providing therapy for?
Well, at first, because of my history in the working field in therapy, at one point I didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of, give your preference, but I mean, when you're working for an organization or an agency, they put you where they need you.
Right.
So I've always been used to working with people from 6 years old to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really had a choice, but when I branched off and started private practice, I was still operating in that mindset. And I'm like, yeah, I can do 6 to 99. I can do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Right. Right.
And I started off and it's just, I had to become very, very creative
Mm-hmm.
through the telehealth platform because if you got a 6-year-old and they out of school and they want to play and they don't want to sit here and listen to you talk, then you
Mm-hmm.
used to do talk therapy. So I used to have to, upload virtual games.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I would have to buy art supplies, music, things
Mm-hmm.
like that to keep them engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe 2 or 3 months ago, early this year, I cut my age minimum to 13.
Okay.
But at first it was 6. And
Okay.
I had 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 6 years old. They would come on and once they learned like the flow of this therapy session, they would come on, hey Miss Kim, say a whole bunch of stuff, like try to just give it to me
Mm-hmm.
meaty and quick, and then they'll leave. And I'm
So
like,
they
you
can
can
go
talk
play
to
the
my
game.
parents now.
Yeah. Okay. Now
And
when
then
you
the
have
session, it'll end up being me and their parents talking
yeah.
for 35 plus minutes, and they'll come in for like 15, 20 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. Is their parents a part of that therapy session when you're talking to small children?
Initially, yes, but of course, you want to get them in a space where they're comfortable talking to you by themselves.
Okay.
And I would do maybe like 10 minutes in the beginning and then 10 minutes at the end where I let the parents come in
Okay.
and, to kind of tell me what they've observed of the week. Because, of course, a child's not going to remember everything.
Right. Right.
So I would,
Right.
I would do that. But my goal when I was in person, no, like they come back by themselves
I
after
got
the
you.
first session by themselves.
Okay. Okay. Have you ever had a parent try to dominate the therapy session and try to
Oh
just
yes,
bash the kid?
oh
You got
yes.
you got an example for us?
Um,
Again, one that you can say for
I can say
everybody.
whatever. I just
Yeah, and
can't
I'm
say
just
the
saying,
name.
I just want to open a door because I want people to understand, and I don't want nobody to have an idea that when you go in there, it's like a confessional, like you have the opportunity to, be yourself. Because I want people to be comfortable with if I got to go talk to somebody, I need to go talk to somebody. You know what I mean? So something like that.
I had a parent that sent their child, to the hospital
Okay.
for XYZ.
Okay.
And then after talking to the child and seeing why she reacts and responds in certain ways, I was able to find out something else.
I got you.
So when it was time to do the family session,
Mm-hmm.
I helped the individual get comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
expressing through her mom what she expressed to me.
Right.
And the mom got upset. The mom was like, this is basically a lie. And I'm like, well, she's here and she's saying this. And if things were like this, or if you can work with her to kind of meet her in the middle, then she won't react in certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, some single mothers are, it's hard for some parents,
Right.
and most children have to take a secondary parent role when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to younger siblings.
Right.
And when you get middle school age, high school age, that's when you start to find out who you are. You start to get involved. You want to get involved in certain things. You want to really, be a part of social circles and
Mm-hmm.
see where you fit.
Right.
And middle school and high school, sad to say, um, if you rank what's important to them, friends are number one,
Right.
being family.
Right.
So for her, she would do certain things because she wasn't able to have that social life or have
Mm-hmm.
that, um, after school activities. She couldn't do certain things because she had a responsibility that was not hers.
Right. Right.
So those
Right.
pressures on someone that you want her to make good grades, you want her to have good
Mm-hmm.
behavior, you want her to be a babysitter, you want her to be a role model, and the list goes on and on. And
Mm-hmm.
she was overstimulated, and it
Okay.
caused her to act out.
Right. Now, you said some things in our conversation that I'm gonna ask you about that are all good, but
Okay.
you already said some stuff I was already gonna ask you, so I'm gonna ask you when it's time. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you when it's time. So we on the same spot.
Okay.
Now, how many people do you think that you see maybe on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week or on a monthly basis that are trying to divulge and get over some of either their past childhood trauma or a generational curse?
Mm, Probably 80%
80% of the people you
of what
see.
I see a week.
Okay. How successful are they after they seek therapy?
I mean,
And when I
I'm
say
still
success,
okay.
I mean like, are they able to maintain what they've learned through talking with you? That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to sound biased, but in a sense, that works for me because
Mm-hmm.
I give homework.
Mm-hmm.
I, I encourage. I have an open door policy. Even though I see
Mm-hmm.
my clients once a week, they know how to reach me.
Okay.
And I have boundaries with that too. I mean, people are like, oh, they can text you or call you, and they know that my response time was within 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Most time they text unless it is an emergency that's not, something that requires 911.
Mm-hmm.
And so with them having that open, line of communication to communicate with me, if something comes up after we talked about something and after we're working on something, they really let me know. Like I've had long paragraphs. I've had short conversations, what I should
Mm-hmm.
do. I came to a roadblock. I tried this, I tried that. It's not working. What's next? So, I mean, as far as like a success rate and them being successful, I can see the progress.
Okay.
I
Okay.
can see major progress in
Okay.
individuals that, you know, breaking generational curses,
Mm-hmm.
learning how to do what's best for them and their mental health and not based off family norms and traditions. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people when they come in this process,
Mm-hmm.
they learn that even family hadn't been like good for them,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
they learn how to set boundaries. And that's something I teach to every client regardless of what you're coming in for.
Okay.
Boundaries and communication, because I feel
Okay.
like those two, when you learn how to set boundaries and not use them as weapons,
Mm-hmm.
then you can kind of secure your comfortability no matter where you're at,
Right. Okay.
because you know what to do if someone doesn't respect your boundaries. It's not to try to enforce it to them. It's not to try to make them do it. You just make some adjustments and you ensure that your boundaries are respected. And with communication, if you know how to assertively communicate, then you'll get your point across, and it's on them, something you have no control over, to be receptive of it or not.
Okay. Who would you recommend to have therapy?
Everybody.
Why is that?
Like I said in the beginning, life is unpredictable,
Mm-hmm.
and you can kind of go through your life like, oh, nothing's wrong. I have a normal life. But what is normal? You
Right.
know, I have a normal life, and then, like where we live,
Mm-hmm.
we can have a hurricane tomorrow
Right.
and you can lose everything you work for.
Right.
But before that, your life was normal. Your life was
Mm-hmm.
perfect, or your life was okay. You was content.
Right.
And then now you having to navigate and learn how to operate in a life that you never dreamed of, you never predicted, because now you don't have anything.
Okay.
So it's like you can lose a family member,
Mm-hmm.
someone that's close to you. It can cause you to go into depression. You don't know how to properly grieve. So just knowing that therapy is a resource is something that everybody should know, or so everybody should, want to have in their back pocket. So if something happens, I can go get a therapy. I
Okay.
had one client, she was from New York, but she moved to Washington. And
Okay.
she told me, in her community, if you didn't have a therapist, who were you? And that stuck with me. She was like, having a therapist is mandatory. It's like having a dentist. It's like having a doctor. It's like, you have to have a therapist. Like, how do
Okay.
you navigate through life without a therapist? And I was like, wow,
They never
that's,
thought about that. That they
she
would
told me
require
that.
people to do that.
Yeah, she was like, in our community, like in where she worked, um, majority of them had therapists.
Is it because of the field that she was working in, or just because of that community she lived in?
I think it was because of the environment. She was in New
I
York.
got you. Okay.
The pressures of living in big cities and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. She was like, who are you if you don't have a therapist?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I got
they
you.
like I had a friend, we were I think we were traveling somewhere, and she was like, you know what? This has been too much. I gotta set up a session with my therapist when I get
Mm-hmm.
back.
Okay.
And it just came out like a normal conversation. And then
Right.
she went back to talking about regular
Something else.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's actually in this profession.
Oh, okay.
So we have therapists too.
Yeah, yeah. And see, you keep touching on stuff I want to tell, I want to ask. Now, a lot of people don't believe that. A lot of people think that therapists have the answers, but they don't know that therapists have to have a place to dump, everything that they're
Yes.
taking on from other people, because it can be very heavy sometimes. So when that happens and you have a therapist that's seeking therapy, do you have other therapists judge you based on what you're telling them? Or is it where they're open because their style may be different? Or do you clash? Or have you heard instances where a therapist has
Mm.
gone to a therapist and they've clashed with the person that they've
Are
gone to
you
talk
asking a
to?
good question? You asking a good question. What I was gonna say before I answer that question is, even with my clients,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I said, I'm very transparent with them,
Mm-hmm.
and I let them know, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm a human just like you.
Right.
I don't have any magic spells, no, tricks or nothing to make
Mm-hmm.
my life like squeaky clean. And I just come and listen to you guys and help you guys
Mm-hmm.
navigate through yours. So, I always, you know, let them know that. And sometimes if it's something that I can relate to or something that I experience, I think with me sharing it and being transparent with them, it helps them like become more comfortable with me and saying, hey, if my therapist can, see it from my perspective or experience something like this, then it might not just be so bad for me. I just need to
Right.
learn how to navigate through this. But
Right.
when it comes to professionals, I know, like I told you, your doctor's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The president not perfect. The
Right.
police not perfect. Your
Right.
manager's not perfect. Like, no one's perfect. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
should utilize the resource of having a therapist when they need one. But when it comes to like therapist to therapist, therapeutic relationship for me, I kind of I kind of don't disclose that in the beginning because I want to see if their style of therapy is fitting for me.
Okay.
So that way it won't be, uh, uh, how do I want to be like a battle of, okay, well, my client is a therapist too, so I have to do this, and this to make sure that she
Mm-hmm.
don't think I don't know this, or she don't think that I know enough to be her therapist or his therapist. And when I found my therapist, I didn't disclose to her
Okay.
that I was a therapist
Okay.
because I wanted her to treat me like a regular client.
Right.
And
Right.
then once she found out, we were already too deep. So I
Okay.
already knew her tone and
Right.
her approach to therapy. So she continued the same way. She didn't change.
That's good. That's good.
Because, like you said, if I'm a therapist and you're a therapist, then is it really work being done? Am I
Hmm.
really being helped, or are you really just trying to show me your expertise?
Right. The
You
reason
know.
why the reason why I asked that question is because the common place we worked before, you would have a nurse be there as needing help, and a nurse would know that that person is a nurse, and the first thing that they'll say out their mouth is, "Oh, that's a nurse. She gonna try to tell us how to do our job." That's not
Mm-hmm.
what they trying to do. Them people not coming there for
Mm-mm.
that. Them people
Right.
coming there to be helped, just like everybody else. So that's why I asked you that question. That's
Yeah,
why I asked you that question.
and that's why most times it just depends. Most times, like even like when certain people in certain professions are dealing with like substance use,
Hmm.
things like that, they don't attend like the public AA meetings,
Right.
or
Right.
they don't attend the public ones
Right.
because of the stigmas or people putting
Hmm.
them on a pedestal
Hmm.
and things like that. So if when you run into that and they come into the common place that we work,
Hmm.
like you said, those people, that might have been their only resource at the moment, or they might just
Right.
need that immediate help to where they had to come, where we worked. And they don't want you to look at them in their profession. They want you to look at them as a regular client so that they can get help and go back to their profession. you
Right.
know?
Right.
So,
How has how has being a therapist changed you personally?
mm, I think it makes me look at a lot of things from different angles and not just my own. Um, it gives me the mindset of not being so impulsive on a lot of things when I'm not working,
Okay.
but I also try to give myself space to still be me.
Okay.
So, like if I'm with family or if I'm with friends, like I'm just Kimberlee. But
Okay.
and then when I'm working or when I'm in that like Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday mindset, like my mind is in my profession.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
I'm operating in that mindset. But um it just gave me like the opportunity to learn how to see things from different perspectives, be open minded to a lot of things, and know that agreeing to disagree, two people being right with different perspectives, it's
Hmm.
a common thing. It
Right.
is, so it helps. And I don't really get like too overwhelmed with a lot of stuff because I practice what I preach.
I got you.
I try to practice what I preach, and I tell myself like if I was a client, if I was my own client, what would I tell myself
That's good.
before I explode?
That's good.
And it works for me.
Okay. You mentioned graduate early earlier in our conversation. What does it mean when someone is graduating in therapy?
Most times when you graduate from therapy, you've gotten to a point to where you've met all your treatment goals.
Okay.
You're navigating through life moving forward, you know, succeeding in managing them goals, and pretty much you just hit all the bullet points for your need for therapy.
Okay. And then is it okay for me to come back after I've graduated or I feel like I've got to a certain point?
Yes, I tell my clients all the time, come back. Don't forget, I'm one text away, one call away. You
Okay.
know how to get in touch. So it's just like you never finish. When I get new clients, I always ask them, "Hey, is this your first time in therapy?"
Okay.
And most of them say, "No, I've had therapy 2 years ago. I've been having therapy since I was 11." So people come back.
Hmm.
They might not come back to the same person for,
Right.
different reasons, but
Hmm.
they come back, and it's a common thing.
Right. How often is it that you have to fix, quote unquote, fix what another therapist has broken in somebody?
Woo! Probably like
Because my last therapist told me if I just do this, then I'll be okay, and you telling me something different.
Probably like 45, 50% of the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, and I just teach people to just advocate for yourself. Like, don't be scared to advocate for yourself, and don't feel like just because I'm your therapist that what I tell you is fitting for you.
Hmm.
Because we're not supposed to tell you guys what to do. We're supposed to assist you in making the best decisions for yourselves.
Okay.
And so, I've had clients that were misdiagnosed. I
Hmm.
have clients that were, um, neglected.
Hmm.
They didn't have any consistency. And I'm just like, wow. Like,
Hmm.
they were like, oh, my therapist would cancel on me. And,
Hmm.
um, they would try to tell me what to do, or they didn't really talk to me. They would just give me all these worksheets to do. And I'm like, oh, I was shocked,
Hmm.
but I just try to make sure that I do the best that I can with my approach and the way that I do, the way that I see my clients, to where if we not fitting, that's fine.
Okay.
But I just try to make sure that I try if anything that I can up to my knowledge to
Okay.
assist you. And if we don't fit, we don't fit. Because I mean, before I started my private practice, I never had to deal with um not being a good fit,
Right. Right.
because I mean it was like a system. You're
Right.
the therapist, these are your clients until they leave, or these are your clients until you
Hmm.
go somewhere else.
I got you.
So my first time not being a good fit, I think I kind of knew it,
Hmm.
but because I was just trying to just do everything from every angle to help this person,
Right.
I kind of put it to the back of my head. And
Hmm.
when they terminated care, I was like shook. I was like, no, I'm not used to this.
Right.
I'm not used to not being able to help all of my clients.
Hmm.
I mean, and from where we
Right.
work together, like,
Right.
I didn't experience half of the things that other therapists experience.
Experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and the way that I interacted with them were on a different level, to where the the way that they respected me was
Hmm.
different from the way that they respect the other people. So
Right.
I kind of had a connection, and that was just from my approach of meeting them where they at, and not trying to come in and tell them what to do.
Okay. You see,
I listen.
you had already said my next question. You already see? I told you.
Yeah.
You already see my next question was, have you ever had anybody step away and said that I need a different therapist? And you just already said it. So,
Yeah, and sometimes, now this one person, this one guy that stepped away, it wasn't even because he wasn't a good fit. It was because he noticed he got really, really comfortable.
oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Like, he got real comfortable, which I thought was an amazing thing, but
Hmm.
it got to a point to where he wanted to keep the rapport at the tone that it was, and
Hmm.
not shift it back to where we began, because
Right.
like I said, he was comfortable in the beginning. We were working, and then he
Hmm.
got comfortable. So he actually went to in-person therapy. He
Okay.
didn't go get another, like, virtual therapist. He went in person, and that was fulfilling for me, because I'm like, okay, yeah, you probably do need that,
Okay.
because of some of the things that we talked about, and some of the goals that he had, and the way his work schedule was. Like, I think him getting out and having to stick to a schedule to go see a therapist versus
Hmm.
getting on Zoom, turning his camera off sometimes, just having his therapy session like he just talking to somebody on the phone.
Right.
That wasn't, as beneficial for him as we both would have liked. So
Right.
that one was a good, you know, step away.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
How often do you see people that are needing inpatient services as opposed to those who do not need that?
Not often. I
Okay.
think, like I said, the younger kids are the ones that need in person. Now, it was a few that were able to stay focused and engaged.
Hmm.
But other situations cause me not to see them anymore. But
Right.
as a whole, because kids have sports, they have
Hmm.
schedules,
They're busy.
they have things, insurance
Hmm.
just change, so there's a lot of different ways to where
Hmm.
that therapeutic relationship and that, it can stop or it
Right.
can change because if I don't take the insurance or if I'm not, within that network, then, that's a sad case for them having to find somebody else.
Right.
But like I said, the younger kids, most definitely not too common with adults. Not too
Hmm.
common with adults. Not too common with teenagers. But the younger ones, I think they need in person. When I was seeing them in person, I worked for a private practice where the rooms were, and it was kind of like deja vu because it was kind of like if I was to open like an office, I would have wanted like my therapy rooms to be like themed,
Right.
and
Right.
hers were themed, and there was a room specifically for younger kids
Hmm.
to where it was toys everywhere, paint,
Hmm.
like whatever you name, it was things in there to keep them interacting with you without noticing that they're interacting with you.
Right. Right. Right.
So sometimes we color and sometimes we paint, but you get so much out of them because they're not focusing on what they're saying, they're
Hmm.
focusing on what they're doing.
Right.
So play therapy, pretty
Right.
much.
I think that part is important because you have to meet them where they are to actually try to help them. And I think
Oh,
people
yes.
don't, I don't think people really understand that if I just take that little bit of time, that'll get me further than where I started, where I thought I was. That's good. Now, I got another good question for you. I got another good
Okay.
question for you. It's not bad. It's a good question. When you interact with people, brand new person, you meet
Okay.
somebody or even your family, and you tell them that you're a therapist and you're talking to them, and there's a miscommunication sometimes. Do you ever get blamed and somebody say, "Don't be trying to therapize me," or "Don't be trying to do therapy on me"? Do you ever run into that?
A lot. And I hate telling people what I do.
Okay,
I
is it for
hate
that
it
reason?
for that reason. I'll either get comments like, I'm not one of your clients. I'm not trying to hear that. You should know this because you're a therapist. Like, the
Right,
list goes on. And on. Or I can meet somebody, oh, I need therapy. Why? Because I just told you it's therapy. You just found out today with
right,
me that you need therapy. Or,
right.
oh, you're a therapist. And then, of course, like say, oh, you're a physical therapist and things like
Hmm.
that. Then you have to explain to them, like, the type of therapist you are. And then
Hmm.
a lot of them, I don't like, I think they feel like they have to give some type of response when you tell them what you do. Like, oh, yeah, I'm looking for a therapist. I might need you. Well, I can
That might
refer you
not
to
work.
somebody.
Yeah, that
Yeah, I
might
can
not
refer you
work
to
because of
somebody.
our relationship. Yeah, it's not gonna
Exactly. So
work.
I can honestly, and then the conversation stops.
Hmm.
Then I can
Yeah,
never hear it again.
yeah. I
But
think
yeah,
that's important.
I've
No,
gotten it
go ahead.
from relatives and friends. You're supposed to be a therapist, or
Hmm.
I'm not one of your clients. I don't want to hear that. Talk to me like a friend, not like a your client.
Right,
The list goes on though.
right. So everybody out there, listen. If you know somebody that's a therapist in your family, do not go to them because you're not gonna get the help you think you need. Not from them.
Well, they can't go to them
Because it's
ethically.
a conflict of interest. It's a
Exactly.
conflict, and that's why I said it's a conflict of interest. You cannot do that. Do not go to those people because they're not going to see you. Okay,
Exactly.
I only got a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
You
I'm
okay with
having
that?
fun. I'm
You
having fun.
are you having fun?
Yeah.
Okay, I told you it's gonna be like we just talking to each other. I told you that. Yeah. Now you are a very successful therapist. You have your own practice. You have all these things. What is your end game in this? And what would you like to see change with therapy?
Um, I want it to be more acceptable. And I think I think all therapists would want that. And another thing I would want to see change in like the therapeutic profession, with counselors, social workers, psychologists at least. Well, psychologists, they fine. But with us,
Right.
um, and it's not a money thing for us because we wouldn't be
Hmm.
still doing this, but I think people don't really know, and I know this is probably one of your questions, the lengths that it took to get to this.
It is. Yeah.
And I think we're overlooked a lot.
Hmm.
And I feel like, a lot of us are underpaid. Like
Right.
if you tell someone like, oh, hey, I don't have insurance, what's your out of pocket, price? And people, they are scared, like they nervous because they feel
Hmm.
like I still want to help, you know, but if I tell them my price because it's what I feel like I'm worth, I'm not paying this for da 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 da. But you got some people that's gonna pay it, like,
Right.
and,
Right.
but it's not like that in the South.
Right.
So that's why I navigated elsewhere.
I got you. I
Not just for the money, but just for people that don't put a price tag on their mental health.
right. But
Because
that's
if
a
you
stigma.
need,
That's a
yeah.
stigma right there.
So if you need the help, just like if you need medications to be healthy, you're gonna pay for them.
Right.
If you need to go to the doctor, you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna
Right.
figure out a way to do it. And I feel like people should have that same mindset when it comes to therapy.
Right.
So,
But where we live does play a part in that because
yeah,
there's a lot of generational stuff that happened. There's a lot of stuff that people they just sweep under the rug about getting help.
yeah. But my end goal is to open a clinic
Hmm.
and kind of be like a mentor for incoming therapists, give them a
Hmm.
space to,
Hmm.
because everybody don't want to have their own private practice.
Hmm.
Private practice is it's not even what you make it. Like it's hard. It's not like, oh, you got a private practice, you must be doing real good. No, it's a lot
It takes
that
work.
comes with
Yeah,
it.
it's more
Yeah,
work
so
to be. Yeah, it takes more
so
work
just
than
to,
actually going to somebody else.
yeah, so I just want to, open a private practice where, upcoming clinicians can come and do what they love without the hassle of all the overhead, the back end work, the insurance, dealing with all of that, and just get appropriate guidance. I can
Right.
say from my experience, and I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna say it.
You say what makes you comfortable.
I'm gonna say it because I
Okay.
say it a lot. With my experience of, being in the working profession in the mental health field, the worst supervisors, um, administrators, bosses look like me.
I'm gonna drop the mic because
They
you're
look like me.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
They look like me.
You absolutely right.
The best, I hold her dear to my heart, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Don't look like me.
I know. I know who you're talking about. I know you. You know why? Because that person that you're talking about, that's the best, has an open mind, and not
Yes.
only she can embrace other people, but she's willing to listen. She's willing to listen. So anytime that you will communicate with that person is not judgmental. That person
Mm-mm.
is not putting their title. That person doesn't put their experience out there. That
Exactly.
person, you're talking to her as if you're talking to somebody you just ran into the grocery store.
And that's who I strive to be.
Yeah,
Like, because when you go to these environments or, and you see people that, from my experience, when I saw people that looked like me, I felt like I was safe.
right,
And I wasn't.
right. And that's the hardest part. And
I felt like I
especially,
was safe. And it's like when
mhm,
they start to see your style of work, either they get intimidated, and then,
when they
I
start
hate the
talking.
question, they get intimidated,
Yeah.
they try to nitpick, find little things, overwork you,
Hmm.
things like that. And that's what really brought me to this side of the field because
Hmm.
I guess I was working inpatient and then I switched to outpatient. But because I
I
had
got you.
inpatient experience, they would bounce me back and forth. And I'm like, well, when they
Right.
bounce you back and forth, you get a pay raise.
Right. 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 Right.
When they
Right.
bounce you back and forth, you get a
Right.
pay raise. So
Right.
either you're gonna, and because you don't want to call in what we call it? The oh my God, the what do I want to come back over there for? The people that come in part time.
Oh, PRN.
Yeah, because you
Yeah,
don't want
yeah,
to call
yeah,
your
yeah,
PRN or
yeah,
you don't want to bother them because they look
yeah,
like this,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
you want me to work half the day over here and half the day over. No, because when I come in, I have the process of how I start my day.
Mm-hmm.
So if I come in and I know, well, yesterday I was working outpatient, I don't mind helping. But if I work
Mm-hmm.
in outpatient, I want to keep that rapport with my group.
Right.
So then you
Just
come
let
in,
me
oh
know
no,
where I'm
you're gonna be
working.
up, oh you gonna be over here today. And then
Yeah.
it came to a point where one day I wasn't in a space to deal with one department. I was in a
Mm-hmm.
space to continue what I was doing yesterday because I already mapped it out to where what I had going on
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't pour into what I had to do professionally, with my group.
Mm-hmm.
And like they understood me. So I was like, you know what? I'm not having a good day. This is not, a good time for me. So I'm going to go in and do this, and this, and make this day easier for both me and my clients. And then you tell me, oh, well, you got to go over here because I didn't want to call such and such. I don't know.
Right. Nah,
So,
that's not gonna
yeah,
work.
like I said, people that look like me have been the worst. And I want to change that. I
I
want to
would say
change
the same
that.
thing. I would say
Yeah,
the same thing, and
I want to
especially
change
on
it.
the side that I work, I would say the same thing because a lot of times it's like, my belief is a boss has a title, but the leader has the people, and a lot of people look for
Mm,
that title to be to speak for me instead of my work speaking for me. And
exactly.
then I could be in a certain place and be able to pull you with me as opposed to, well, I'm here and you're there. And that doesn't work well. And we don't deal well with that anyway because that's not good because it
And
becomes a crabs in a barrel mentality.
And that's exactly. And my biggest take is like, especially in interviews, and I'm so happy I don't have to deal with that anymore. But I never liked the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because if I tell you I see myself doing what you're doing, you automatically from the beginning may see me as a threat.
Yeah. Somebody laughed at me when I said that one time. They laughed in my face. I said, well, this ain't the place for me to work, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, they try to put ceilings on you
Mm-hmm.
for, I guess, whatever their own pride, ego, whatever reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when I come to different agencies and environments to work, I just want to work and go home.
Right.
I just want to do what I'm
Right.
supposed to do and go home.
Right.
I'm not trying to take your job. I'm not trying to
Mm-hmm.
make you look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever directives you give me, I'm gonna do it to the way that works for me. And then another thing, when you find a different strategy to do the same thing easier, they want you to do it the way that they want you to do it because it's
Because it's in their understanding.
that,
It's
and they
in
just
their
feel
understanding.
like because I had to go through it, you should continue to go through it.
No,
But my motto is to work smarter and not harder. So if I find a
always.
way to work smarter
Mm-hmm.
and I want to take my lunch break at the end of my work shift, what's wrong with
Right.
it?
Right. Right. Okay.
Oh,
You got anything else? Everything that was great. That was great.
okay.
You got anything else you want to tell the people? You want to get out there?
I don't know. I mean, I just feel like everybody should have a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and don't let the cost or insurance or things like that stop you from getting the help that you need because just like with attorneys, just like with, different hospitals, agencies that they have sliding scales, they have ways where they can make things affordable or working for you. I'm actually working on something. Some therapists do it already, but it's not really big. But I want to have it to where like you pay it like it's like a subscription,
I got you.
like a monthly subscription to
I got
where
you.
as needed. Like we do it all the time. We pay it at the
Mm-hmm.
gym. We do it all the time
Mm-hmm.
with what is it? The TV streaming
Right.
networks, and we do it all the time. And people probably feel like, well, if I'm gonna pay a monthly fee, I'm gonna want to use it. Okay, it's there for you to use.
Right. Right.
If we pay for Netflix and probably don't watch Netflix but one time a month,
Maybe
but
if you
we
got
keep, but
time.
we keep paying it.
Yeah.
We
And
pay
can't
for the
complaining.
gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, we pay for the gym and we don't go
Yeah.
because I've lost a lot of money, but we don't go,
Yeah.
as much. So if you don't have that mindset of how you make your money work for you, then it's gonna always look like that. But for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, I have a subscription to um a gym. So if I pay $100 a month, that's telling me, okay, I'm paying $25 a week.
Okay.
But I can go as much as I can. So if I
Yeah.
go 5 days a week, I'm paying $5 to go to the gym.
Right. If you break it down
So
like
then when
that,
you
yeah.
break it down like that, if I don't go every day, I'm still not mad because
Mm-hmm.
you might pay $30, $40 for 1 hour with a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to shift your mindset on what's beneficial for you and what's working for
Mm-hmm.
you. So if you really, feel like you just need somebody to talk to, need a safe space, if you feel like you're alone, if you feel like you've been like trying to bury things that keep popping up in your life, like go
Mm-hmm.
look for a therapist.
Right.
They everywhere. It's affordable. They make it affordable for you. Some agencies, do, and other people. If you can afford to, go to a private practice and seek therapy as much as you can, do what's working for you, but don't shy away from therapy because of the price or because of the stigmas. That's my
Okay.
biggest thing.
All right. That's good. I'm glad you said that because that was everything that people need to hear. All
Yeah, because
right.
we go through. I mean, we go through a lot to,
Yeah.
be here,
Well,
and
even
I
in this
think we,
field,
huh?
even
Yeah,
in this
and I
field.
mean, even just to get licensed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. Like we have to go to school, get a bachelor's, get a master's, do almost a year worth of internship,
Mm-hmm.
unpaid
Mm-hmm.
most of the time.
Yeah. I was gonna talk. I was
95
gonna. I was gonna ask you about that. I was gonna ask you
90,
about that.
95% of the time
Yeah.
unpaid.
I was gonna ask you about that. About that time.
Yeah,
'Cause,
take a test
yeah.
and
Pay
then
for it out of
still have
pocket. Pay for it out of pocket. And
yeah,
that test
then
ain't
have to
cheap.
pay and then have to still work 3,000 hours under a
Mm-hmm.
supervisor, pay
Right.
them on a monthly basis just to meet with them.
And hopefully that supervisor's credible too. And we'll sign
And
your paper when you're done.
and exactly. And I think the shortest time that I've seen is 18 months.
Yeah.
In most states, 2 years, 3 years. So you
Yeah.
can't even practice individually by yourself without going through that process. So I think that's why a lot of therapists get burned out because they went through all this stuff and they're not seeing the fruit,
The
their
reward.
reward. They're not seeing
Right.
their reward, and it's like we ain't up there with doctors, and well,
Right.
we up there. We
Right.
go
Right.
through the
Right.
same amount of schooling. Have
Mm-hmm.
to get the same amount. We have to get liability insurance. All of
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Dealing with
Yeah.
the psyche.
Yeah, I know. That's important for other people to know and understand that it's something to look into, but it's a cost for everything.
and
It's
it's
a
a
cost.
lot to protect yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yo, definitely.
it's
Definitely. Definitely.
a lot. So
Definitely.
I mean, if you been thinking about therapy, just try it.
Yeah.
And guess what? If you don't like the person, try somebody else
Yeah.
until you find the person that's fitting for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'll do that with your doctor.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
sure
you'll
will.
do it with you'll do it with restaurants, you'll do it
Mm-hmm.
with, whatever. So it's the same thing. Don't feel um entitled to stay with the first therapist you see because they're professional. Or even
Right.
listen to everything that they say if it don't work for you.
Right. Because of their style may not match what you're looking for.
Exactly.
Good.
So that's why so many of us, so that you can do trial and error and find who's fitting for you. And I had to learn that, on this side of the field that
Mm-hmm.
everybody's not gonna stay.
Right.
And it's
Right.
okay.
Right.
And it's okay because you want the clients that are going to work with your style and your approach of therapy. Then get things done versus you having to struggle on a week and nobody's getting help. You just wasting a lot of time.
I got you. I
Yeah.
got you. All right. Well, you did great. I ain't got no more
Thank you.
questions for you.
Thank
You
you.
answered all
Thank
my
you.
questions and then some. And then some.
Well,
And then
once
some.
I get to talking
I know.
and, thinking about a lot of stuff and sharing, it's just going
It
to
just
come
comes
out.
out. It
It's
just
just going
comes
to
out.
come out. It's gonna come out. But like I said, I love what I do.
Hmm.
And I mean, I wish I could do more, but
Hmm.
like I said, I know my limits.
Right.
And right now, like I'm majority based in the state of Washington.
Okay.
I see people in Houston and Texas, you know, every once in a while.
Hmm.
But my biggest clientele right now is Washington, and I'm crossing over to Oregon
Hmm.
because there's a big need over there too. And they ready.
Yeah.
We behind.
Definitely. They're very progressive out there.
Yeah, they.
Very progressive out there.
I
That's two of
mean,
my favorite places to visit. They are very
yeah,
progressive out
visit,
there.
not live.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah,
mean, if you like cold, if you like it cold and you like the rain,
the
that's
rain.
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I
That's
mean,
it's
you know, I
cool.
learned a lot virtually. I will go visit, and the good thing is the company that do my marketing and things like that. They have offices all over the
Uh-huh.
state,
Right.
and I think they coming to Texas. They trying to
Okay.
come to Texas because a lot
Okay.
of us they get a lot of us from Texas because the requirements to be licensed in Texas online are is a little bit more than what it takes to be a therapist,
I
licensed
got you.
therapist over there.
I
So
got you.
they find states that have the minimum of what they require or
Hmm.
more,
I got you.
which is Texas is one. Texas
Hmm.
is really, really strict.
Hmm. Oh, they
Uh,
shoot with everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
so but I like it because it put the fire to me to do what I need to do.
Hmm.
And a lot of people they dread the test.
Hmm.
They'll get their hours like this. This is just going to work.
Yeah.
You doing what you've been doing. But passing that test and getting it, you can't start your hours until you pass the test.
Right.
Because they
Right.
know you're gonna get your hours. Texas know you're
Right.
gonna get your hours.
Right.
But they want to make sure that everybody is certified. And when you have that endorsement for being a national certified counselor, you can get
Hmm.
licensed in other states.
That's
So
good.
they helped me be licensed in other states, but they ahead in those states. Now
Hmm.
California is tricky. It take I would want to go over there, but it's a lot.
Hmm.
It's a lot. So I was just like, maybe they'll change it and then
Maybe.
I'll
But they got a
cross
lot of
over.
people over there.
Yeah, but they got a lot of people over
They
there.
got a lot
But
of
like I
people over
said,
there.
this company they're trying to come to Texas and I can't wait.
Okay.
Hopefully within the next because if they can find the people, I can see them.
Hmm. That's right.
But yeah, I just if you need therapy, if you need somebody to talk to, if you just need a safe space to get different perspective, professional perspectives, go look for your therapist.
All right. So y'all heard it. If you need to talk to somebody, don't be afraid. Get
Don't be
out there.
afraid.
And nobody has to know because they're not going to tell nobody because they have an oath to keep. They're not going to tell nobody. Okay.
Hmm.
But
We
I
can't tell
want,
nobody.
right. You can't. So before we end today, I want to give you your flowers.
Thank you.
I want to give you your flowers. So the first time I met you and you were training with somebody and the way she talked about you meant something because she don't talk that way about a lot of people. All right. So
Hmm.
your training person had high regard for you. So for her to say those things about you meant something to me. I say, okay, I'm paying attention. But then when I saw you in action, I said, she bad. She bad. And it
I
wasn't
missed
like
it.
I have never seen anyone, even if they were upset at one time, they will quickly come back and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And it's the way you carried yourself and the way you just kept what it was to be what it was always going to be. And they felt like they can trust you. And a lot of them really thought that you were the actual therapist and you were just the intern.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it time.
But they treated you like you were the real.
Right. And I was like, why would she put me over here like
Right,
the worst of the
right,
worst? But I respect it. When I
right.
look back, I'm like, I respect it.
Because that's where you
And
got all that experience. You got
I
all that
was
experience over there.
I did. So nothing like really intimidated me. Like the
Hmm.
clients, the type. I think like I told them, the little kids, I was just like but I was forced to work over there sometime.
Right.
But another thing, before I left, I found out somebody else spoke highly of me. barely said anything to me.
Really?
The
Surprised you, huh?
HN, yeah, the top psychiatrist. So you know who I'm talking about.
I know you talking about. Yeah, you don't
I
give
didn't
out
know she.
compliments. Don't give out
I didn't know
compliments
she
either.
noticed.
She
Anything.
knows. Trust me. She
And when
knows a lot of people and she connected.
she heard I
And
was leaving,
yeah. But
she was like,
she heard it from somebody you have a good connection with.
and she told them, "You need to do what you need to do to keep her here." I'm like,
That's right. That's right. That's right. So
yeah.
you got it. You had three major endorsements.
hmm
Three major endorsements. So that says a lot. So it's not surprising to me to see you where you are right now because you
Yeah,
already had it in you. It was just a time in between for you to get there.
yeah. I appreciate my journey.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. The way that it went, how it went, and me getting uncomfortable to having to leave places where I felt like I was needed
Mm-hmm.
or I felt like I wanted to be forever. Because when
Right.
came over there, I was like, oh, I made it.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't know nothing about this side
Right.
of things. I was like, oh yeah, I made it. This is
Right.
this. I didn't think nothing beyond it. I was content, but you know, when it's time for you to move around, you'll get uncomfortable.
Oh,
And
definitely.
I did.
Definitely.
And I did. And where I'm at now, I'm comfortable and I've been managing it and not getting distracted by other things. But I ain't gonna- I really think now that I got this private practice virtually, like to where I can do it like I was doing my other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I think I want to come back.
Mm.
But
Well,
not where I can live, like somewhere, like to change something, like
I
higher
got
up.
you. I got you.
So I'm thinking about it.
I got you. You
Like,
never know
which
what
is,
opportunity. You never know what door will open up for you, though.
yeah, I'm looking in it. Maybe because, I mean, I don't, like in the daytime, I'm free because
Right.
they 2 hours behind.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I can still make a change over here and
Mm-hmm.
go back and take all the stuff I've learned and make a change over there. But so I'm looking. And I just came up with this month.
Okay.
So
All right.
you might
That
see
works.
me, you might not. You might see me somewhere close.
You
You
might.
might not, but I want I just want to be able to make a change. Like I don't want to go backwards. I
Right.
want to go forward. So if I
Right.
can come back, in the traditional 9 to 5, 8 to 5, 7 to
Mm-hmm.
3, whatever working world, I want to be
That
in
will
a
work for
space where
you.
I can make a change. Yeah.
Yeah, that will work for you. Okay.
Yep.
That'll work.
So I'm thinking about it. You'll hear from me. But yeah, I've been going back and forth for 2 months, and this month I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna do it. Once summer over and the kids go back to school, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
probably look into something
Okay.
because it's like it's hard for me to do a lot during the daytime because they 2 hours behind.
Right.
So I become idle, and I just am like I need something to do. Like I
I
need to
got you.
keep going.
I got you.
So, so yeah, I might be back.
All right. Well, I'll look forward to seeing you then since it's already out there. We're going to have that manifestation. It's going to be out there.
Yeah, I might be back somewhere.
Yeah, that's all right. They'll take you. They'll take
But you know what's crazy? I'm gonna tell you one more thing. Somebody called me.
you. Hmm.
Mm, I loved her when I was there. A nurse,
Hmm.
she's a nurse practitioner now.
Hmm. Okay.
We worked
Okay.
together. She left
Okay.
right before I left.
Okay.
Sweet lady,
Okay. Okay.
and she's still connected with the.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Okay.
Just called me out the blue.
Okay.
Mhm.
I ain't gonna
So
say
I feel
nothing.
like this. It's the right time. We'll
I ain't gonna
talk,
say nothing.
but
I ain't gonna
she
say
was like,
nothing.
yeah. hmm
I ain't gonna say nothing.
So some
I
people
ain't-
talking, and I'm
yeah.
ready because now I got this under wrap. But when I first started, I think I started in the end of 2023,
Mm-hmm.
and I built it up. And even the people that I market with, that was like nobody built up their practice that fast. I'm like, I want more.
Right.
Some people see 10, 15 clients a week. 30. Give them to me.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Yes.
Yeah, bring them
I can
on.
do 40. Yeah,
Yeah,
bring
bring
them
them
on.
on. Bring them on.
So, now that I got it to where I got it working for me and my body, my schedule, my lifestyle, it fits
Mm-hmm.
all of that. I feel like now I can add something to it versus trying to do two things at one time.
I got you.
So
Okay.
that's why I'm saying I might be back
All
somewhere.
right. I'm sure. I'm sure you done said it enough. You done put it out there.
Somewhere.
I
Yeah,
know
it's
it
out
is.
there.
I know it is.
And
It's out
just
there.
I'm not getting bored and I'm not burnt out, but I just want to do more with my time.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can do more with my time and still, take care of my baby,
Right.
my private practice, then I can do
Right.
that.
I got
Yeah.
you. All right. All right. Well, that's our show for today. Thank you for joining us. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell someone. Let's get it out there. And as always, be good to yourself and be good to others. Peace.
Bye.